Welcome to the next installment of the Dismount Podcast, and today we are discussing Beam Me Up, I Feel So In Tune. We were going to change that to I Feel So In Sync, but then I was like, with the whole in sync thing going on, I don't really want to steal their thunder.
I actually had some alternative names for this episode I wrote down. Don't piss in the sink. Let that sink in. The Sink Panther. I thought Titty could be the Sink Panther.
I like that.
Sink deficiency. I thought that'd be good for me. A chain is only as strong as its weakest sink.
So today we are discussing synchronicities, a little Carl Jung kind of vibe out here today. And game plan is, do we get to it? Time will tell. But game plan is we are going to discuss life synced up, synthetic syncs, natural and unnatural syncs, signs of acknowledging the syncs, growing your awareness muscle, manifesting, a deeper relationship through unexplainable events, and maybe we might dive into some astrology from some simpletons. Haha. So let's get into it. Life synced up. I'll tell you what, man, today was one of those days where I was like, man, I am in tune. Scotty beam me up. Let's get after it. Today was like, I started today, was totally going to call off of work and just looked outside. It was all dreary, dark. I was like, man, nah. We spent so much time on the podcast this weekend. I was like, I just want to keep working on it. Anastasia came up last night and she's like, it's 10:30. You've been working on this since 9 o'clock this morning.
Thanks, dude.
You gonna take a break? I was like, nope. I'm sorry. Love you, but this is what it takes sometimes to go after your dreams. Like, I'm so laser focused. I'm in sync. It's time to keep bugging. So today, woke up and just totally was like, nah. The vibe outside was all dark and dreary. I stayed up late, so I didn't get up and do my morning run. And I was just sitting there like upset with myself that I didn't get my morning run in. I didn't get to do my little like exercise to stretch out. Got all my vitamins, minerals, all that kind of stuff. The smoothie made all that, but I was literally like backpack, ready to go to work, and was like, I'm just going to call in sick. And then I said, no, I'm not going to call in sick because I got stuff going on later this week, and I know that I need to go to work, and I personally want to get something done that I was actually excited to do, which was to make drawings again, because I've been in engineering for how long, and I might have made 10 drawings, like in the 10 years that I've been in engineering. That's crazy numbers, but I've just done so much project management. But today, driving to work, I was like, man, I know I left late. It's like, shit, I'm going to get stuck behind that recycling truck today. I don't know why the hell my mind thinks like this, but sure as shit, come up and over the hill, recycling truck going down the road. And it's a tough road to get past them, to like go past them because you're coming to a light and it's just busy. But I was like, shit. I look at the back of the truck and it says, I couldn't see it that well, but it said 44777. And I thought it said 7777. And I was like, well, quad sevens, man, like rolling freaking jackpots on. Like, and I come up and I'm like, oh, that doesn't say 777. That says 4477. Sarah's Candy's van pulls up right next to me, and I look out my side window, and it 412 like 856 7777, and I said, sure as shit, you got to be kidding me! Just the van pulled right up in time. So life synced up. We're talking about all of those like feeling in sync with your life and starting to like build that awareness in your reality for like things that go on and things that transpire and happen to you that you somehow like find a correspondence from this to that, or something happens and you're just like, whoa, oh shit, I recall that. I thought of that 3 days ago. Now it's right here. And those kind of things, super crazy, man. Like all of the things that we've experienced recently that each of us have just talked to each other about, like now starting to like build that awareness muscle to see those. Like I told Derek, I was like, dude, when John joins the SRM team, like when John joins, things are going to just like exponentially turn over. Because I know John, dude, so creative, such a badass, so excited for him to like blossom into that person who like, dude could have his whole own thing on his own. He doesn't need any of us to like, that guy is a personality in his own. And I was sitting there and I'm like, well, John hasn't joined yet. But then we started doing Skit Wednesdays. And JJ joined us for Skit Wednesdays. And my dumbass, literally, JJ joins us for 2 weeks. And my dumbass meets the guy down the street. And I think, oh, this guy right on my street, known him for 2 years, haven't really talked to him. Oh my goodness, this guy's name's John. He's got his own screen printing stuff in his house. Like, he wants to do a podcast sometime. Like, oh shit, man. Like, this guy been listening to our stuff, giving us all kind of feedback right now. I was like, that's the John. And then we were sitting at Skit Wednesday and I go, dude, I'm an idiot. I'm literally looking right at JJ telling this story about the guy down the street. And I go, oh, fuck. It was John Joseph the whole time, dude. It wasn't John down the street. It was John Joseph. Johnny joined us. And now we're cooking, dude. And the skits have changed.
Like, yeah. Well, JJ is a good actor. JJ has the stone cold look behind the camera that's so good that I can't. You get it. I think you do a good job too. But with me behind the skits, I'd like to be the brain more of that. I'd like to be the bronze. JJ brings the heat.
So I'd ask either of you gentlemen, like, what is a time recently, and I think we'll start with you, D. Mm-hmm. Synchronicity. Crazy one. When did it happen?
Crazy one recently would be probably working. It was almost like you had today. I was working, and I've known Brandon for the better part of 20 years, and I've known his family too. So I'm working, and tons of people around in my job. You know, Brandon's brother, Anthony, had come to hockey games before, so it wouldn't be out of the realm to see him at a hockey game. So I, standing around looking, like, oh, it's Brandon's brother. And I'm looking as he passes by, and that is not Brandon's brother. It looks quite like him. You know, if they stood next to each other, I'd probably see the difference. But I was Brandon's brother, Anthony. That's funny. Like, I guess he's not here. No big deal. 30 seconds later, I'm standing there, and Brandon's brother, Anthony, walks right past me. He goes, oh, Derek, what's up, dude? Holy shit. You know, understand what just happened. I thought I saw you, and I thought about you. And then 30 seconds later, I turn around, and you're standing here.
That's a gnarly sync.
That was weird.
Was the first one him, or just looked like him?
It was not. Yeah, probably completely different outfit, completely different person. Having then seen Anthony, I realized that he looked nothing like him at all. But
meanwhile, you also gave me, Anthony, and each of our wives tickets that same year.
Yeah, but it wasn't that game. It was a completely different game. It was later in the year, towards the end of the season. Really weird setup, man. But between that and then like ones I've had in my life, the other one would have been maybe I listened to the same playlist way too long. Shuffling doesn't matter. I know Spotify, just like we'll talk in the synthetic syncs, is also built with an algorithm. So even if you have a playlist, if you skip a couple songs, it'll feed you a song that you click on a lot.
Yeah.
But even on the bike race second day, we're mowing through the rain, and we had that my Steeler became playlist on all the classic rock and all the DVE in piss and rain, 30 miles in, and I really would go for Paradise City by Guns N' Roses, right? Or, dude, I'm not pulling my phone out. We're cooking 15 to 18 miles an hour in the rain. I couldn't even kick it out if I wanted to. And we're just going, the song ends, and as I'm thinking that, I'm just imagining the beginning of the song, and the guitar comes in, and fucking sure as hell would it have it, the song comes on. And I'm like, damn, bro, is this shit on shuffle? You know, and it was. But to have that happen, like, feel like something that I've always wanted to do is get out there with you more, like not a competitive, but like a build out biking atmosphere. And to have like that song going, like, man, dude, like I need to keep doing this kind of shit. It's like that way of, you know, the universe communicating with you in ways that actually obey the laws of nature. As I wrote down, like I think the note I wrote down when I was writing that out was that Ruby would never tell you to quit your job. Like, that wouldn't make sense. If the universe was trying to communicate with you, your dog's not going to look at you this morning and go, hey, why don't you just quit that job, dude? Like, she's not going to, no. But you start looking for different things. Well, actually, don't look for them at all. You just go out there and do what aligns with you. It's funny how these things start to happen.
I think it really comes from, and this is a topic that we'll talk later on, is building that awareness muscle. I realized that today when I was driving home, that I was just like, man, I wonder if people think the way that I think. Like, and I don't mean like I'm this random weird instance of just this person. I'm talking other people think this way too. But I was curious if the majority of people think like this, where you start to try to like see how like, oh, well, if I would have did this different today, maybe these outcomes would have happened. Or, well, you know, I got real upset about that thing. If I would have like changed my attitude within like 30 seconds instead of like 30 minutes, what would have happened? Like when I actually like talked to those 5 other people after that instance, how would I have changed their day? Or how could they have potentially changed my day if I brought a different perspective to those conversations? Mm-hmm. And that's where like you start to try to like, for me, it was like, wow, do I think too much about my life? Yeah, I probably think way too much about my life. I should probably just be in tune and just keep rolling. But Brandon, share. I know you got some stories on this one.
I have a couple I have to share, and I want to take a moment just to give the definition from the American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language, 5th edition.
Yeah, can we please just take a second? If there's anybody in this room who knows a thing or two about what we're talking about today, it has always been this guy.
I was gonna say, was the book you gave me Synchronicity?
That one was on Carl Jung, and for the audience, I still haven't read it.
Yeah, I think Brandon gave me a Carl Jung book. I'm like, oh, dude, like I'm gonna try to expand my mind. Dude, I read that book. I was on the beach, relaxed. I had the bit of energy to take in that book, and I read 3 pages. And I said, "There's no fucking way I understand any of this."
For anyone who's going to get a Carl Jung book, make sure it's under 100 pages and it's a small book. Otherwise, you might just not make it. That one's 300 pages. It's like this thick. I still haven't read more than 10 pages, so I'm with you. But synchronicity is the state or fact of being synchronous or simultaneous synchronism. It's a coincidence of events that appear meaningfully related, but do not seem causally connected. Taken from Jungian psychoanalytic theory to be evidence of a connection between the mind and material objects. What Carl Jung did was he would use it to help clients as a catalyst. He might say, like, you know, maybe this thing happened in your life because it's a sign, or it could also be something that's not helpful. Maybe someone's like paranoid and they're like, I saw that person again. You know, I saw another red Jeep come by my house today. And I was like, well, people like red Jeeps, so don't worry about it. No, I know it's that red Jeep because they had silver rims. It's like, well, every red Jeep has silver rims.
You start to sound like a schizophrenic.
Yeah. So that's, yeah. And I guess back then I think it was like psychosis. So that's essentially where he was trying to like, where would be, I can't think of the right word, but it's either adaptive or maladaptive. I'll just interchange with it. But for me, I had a couple crazy ones. I think the craziest one was we had summer camp at the place that I was working, and a bunch of cars come through. In an hour's time period, a ton of cars come pouring out and go in and out of the lot. We'll just say that my license plate is ABC1234. This person, they drove the exact same model car, the exact same color, the exact same year. And then if my plate is ABC1234, be like their plate was ABC1230. And I was like, that ain't my car. That ain't my car. And then I looked over to where my car was supposed to be, which was like only a few feet away. And I was like, that's my car. Okay, I'm not crazy. Like, it's same year, same model, same color. Everything about it's the same except for a couple digits on the license plate. I've never seen anything like that. And then a little bit later, it was about a week later, I also saw another car that was the same brand as mine, and it had ABC, and then it had a different set of 4 numbers.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, this is all in like this past 3 weeks. I was like, how? It might have been the past 2 weeks. It's like, how did that happen? But another crazy thing that came across, this is just worth mentioning. Derek and I both have had some weird in sync moments, not with each other, but just with the circumstances. Last week, Derek was about to drop something, and he had like a sixth sense. It's about to drop, and just put his hand there. I would say it was about last year, maybe no, it was 2 years ago, around this time. Something dropped off of your table, and without thinking, my hand just caught it. Without thinking, it just knew, you better put your hand there. And I didn't give it a command. It just put its hand there. And then it was like something like glass from the kitchen. It was about to drop, and my hand just went.
Dude, that's a gnarly. When you're constantly opening up cupboards and you're like already prepared to catch something that's about to fall, that is when I feel like you realize, oh shit, I'm way more in tune with myself and my surroundings and my reality than I ever gave myself credit for.
And it's not something that usually falls. It's not like a thing that falls every day. It's just something that's gonna fall, and your hand's just ready.
Yeah.
Like you're a few seconds ahead.
It's a different cupboard. It's a different object. It's a different area, different piece, Yeah, that stuff is wow.
Well, that's the in tune bit too. Like with the way things are set up nowadays, I feel like everybody, speaking for myself specifically, everything's so distracting. There's so many distractions. So when you're trying to build that awareness muscle, like you mentioned, or wrote down cleaning out the antenna, you start looking for things like that. But if you're distracted and you're running around, your head's in 10 different places, you're not thinking about like even the reaction. I think you're just ready for a kid, dude. Those are dad reflexes. you're seeing the future.
I'm not so Raven.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
was the thing that I was realizing today while I was driving home was I haven't bombarded myself. Like I'll watch TikTok, but like I don't follow people like hardcore. Like there's really nobody who like I'm scrolling my Instagram feed or like I'm popping up on my YouTube and really just like diving into their stuff to where like I'm following somebody like hardcore. What I mean by that is like I'm not focused on what's going on with any of the sports teams in my area. I'm not focused on what's going on in the news. I don't care what's going on in Hollywood. I couldn't care less what's going on with the most recent influencer who's become huge on whatever. Like, I feel like those things have allowed me to become in tune because I've tried to remove as many of the distractions as I can.
Right. Yeah, no, it makes a difference. And I think that leads to seeing, and that's why I think synchronicities aren't so out there. Like for me, when I feel like I start realizing them more, I felt like this like out there concept, right? Like, oh man, there's just like these events that really don't mean anything, and I'm just applying meaning to them for whatever reason it is. But on the other side of it, if you're just removing most of the distractions from your life and you're fully aware of your surroundings and in the present moment, then I think I wrote down what's the saying, Teddy? It's as above, so below. Yeah.
As within.
Oh, I wrote it down.
As within, so without, right?
Yeah, I was thinking it, but I was like, that's not right, is it?
Yeah. We screw up a lot of quotes on this podcast. It's okay.
I totally thought that was
as
accurate.
above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. Yeah. So there are so many, and I might get into the astrology at the end of it. Like, there's so many patterns that are already in our universe, to like the stars in the sky, all the way down to the atoms in your body, all pattern based. So to think of this concept, it's okay, it's a little woo-woo, but on the other side, it's just kind of the way our universe is built. Computers are built the same way. It's all patterns. It's all just coding, all built in. There's no difference here.
Well, also, sorry to cut you off. It's just a golden moment. I don't know much about string theory, but that kind of sounds a lot like string theory. Like everything's broken down to these small components. They're all interconnected until it gets into the quantum.
Yeah, go look at
above me.
Go look at the chemical makeup or the DNA makeup of you inside and how they break that down, what it visually looks like, and then look at what a galaxy looks like. And you're same fucking thing, dude.
Yeah, the crazy thing is seeing the cities as motherboards. That like
I didn't think about
like
that.
Circuit boards. Yeah, cities literally look just like circuit boards, and they've found like different actual old ruins that are pyramids, whatever it is, that are set up just like circuit boards too.
Right.
To where they talk about all these intricate like turbines and all this different stuff that are actually all made of granite, like a turbine fully made of like granite stone.
Well, that's wild.
But that's for a way deeper topic. That's for a day.
We will get off that. We'll jump off that diving board one day.
Yeah. But I want to recall this concept of knocking down the whack-a-mole.
Oh yeah.
Because that to me was
when we were brainstorming this, and that's kind of what I thought about is when I feel in tune the most, it's like life is putting your the whack-a-mole set up in front of you at Dave and Buster's, Brandon's Bread and Butter. You're not a big whack-a-mole guy, right? I don't know. You ever play whack-a-mole, Chuck?
I love whack-a-mole. I was going to say, Dave and Buster's doesn't have it, but Chuck E. Cheese still does.
They definitely do.
I haven't been there in like years.
So when I feel like these moments occur the most often is when life is just, one thing pops up and I know exactly what to do and I'm knocking it down. The next thing pops up and I'm hammering these things out. I know what I'm aligning with. I know what the vision for me in a short-term goal or a long-term goal is. It's always those like, I think a lot too, just like you said. So I'm always calculating. And it always seems like when I'm looking for some type of path to take, it's when I start seeing even numbers or whatever it may be over and over again. Okay, like you know what's in your gut, you know what to trust. So just keep whacking the moles down and the next thing will pop up and you just take care of that one as it comes up. And as long as you're doing that, you're in tune, you got a rhythm going.
Yeah.
And that takes care of your business by itself. There's no overthinking it. Like if you just trust, take all the worry out, take all the distractions out, and all of a sudden you're just smacking a fucking mole at Chuck E. Cheese, dude. No, it's nothing bigger than that.
I had no desire to go to work today, and I drive to work. The Sarah's Candy thing happens with the recycling truck. Then every single gas station I pass, I shit you not, every single gas station, I should have took a picture, was $3.69 a gallon today. That does not happen where every single gas station you pass.
Someone's trying to get a couple extra pennies.
Well, they were more expensive over the weekend.
$3.72. Yeah.
Everything dropped down. So like,
but it's funny, you went out of your way to make it, you were set on staying home.
Yes.
You made this conscious, you know what? I don't know what's taking me. I did the same thing. I was actually going to work from home. And I don't think I had anything like that occur today. It was a good, productive day. I'm glad I went. But same thing with you. Turns around and you go, oh man, like I made a decision that I wasn't going to make, but it felt right. Something carried me out the door. And then I did this. You had a productive day at work. You went and did your thing and like took you down a different path. But as you went down that path, you saw these numbers or signs. You're like, oh, okay, this is what I was supposed to be doing the whole time.
Yeah. It was so weird because it was the easiest drive I've ever experienced to work. I hit every green light, which was gnarly. And I literally, like I said, every gas station was 369 and it was doom and gloom when I left. It was raining and I come up over the hill and it's just sunshine on the other side. Big 369 right at the gas station. And I was like, what the fudge? Okay, this was totally what I was supposed to do. Go to work, hammered out all this stuff that I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to get done, just crushed it. Wasn't in that like I can give, and I probably shouldn't admit this, but like I can give like a hard, solid 4 to 6 hours. And then I'm pretty like mentally checked out. I really can't do more than 6 hours anymore. Like locked in for something that just I don't have any passion towards. It doesn't give me any zest or vibe. Like today, the drawings, haven't done those in a long time. So like doing that, I want to get into being able to build architectural stuff so that I can design like our homestead. I can design this like backyard patio my dad's trying to build. So I was like, oh yeah, this is beneficial to me. Like, but I'm also struggling through this. Like, it was so fucking hard. I was like, holy shit, dude. I learned this for 4 years. Like, I don't know a damn thing right now. I felt like an absolute grade school kid, like trying to whip open AutoCAD today and like do stuff. And Eric came over and showed me a bunch of stuff. And like, I just went away and I get done and like I told you, I was like, Eric, these are poop soup, but they're edible, man. They're edible. They'll work. Yeah. He looked at me and he goes, yep, they are. But like, when we're talking about these synthetic sinks, and I really took this synthetic sinks and I expanded on it to be natural and unnatural synthetic sinks. And I think what really got robbed from humanity was synchronicities. Why? Because I sit here and I have a conversation with the three of you guys and we talk about bowling. And then all of a sudden, every single thing that pops up on my news feed is about bowling. And you're just like, wait, I talked about bowling with my friends on Saturday night around a bonfire. Why is this coming up on my news feed on Tuesday? And like, I feel like ads and marketing and propaganda and all that kind of stuff has robbed synchronicities from people, to where it's robbed you of that awareness to notice your own synchronicities of life, of, you know, seeing that person that you thought about and then pop up, or seeing your car, literally the same exact car, same exact license plate, because that's gnarly. That's weird. Like, that person had to have bought that car from the same area, same time frame, same location, and now you're in the same place. And I don't think you bought that car around this area. Did you? You bought that. Did you get that?
I want to say I bought it in Monroeville.
Okay, so it was around here, but regardless, I mean, even like being in that area of just all those people who could come to that dealership and then also see that car, or come to that dealership, buy those cars, and then be off on their merry way somewhere completely different. So wild to see a car like that again. So like, where I was going with these synthetic syncs was algorithms, and algorithms being built to pump what you watch back to you. Then we had this crazy wild thought of, if it's not a person who is programming these algorithms to manipulate viewership and that kind of stuff, is where I threw out this crazy topic of like, oh shit, maybe the computers are already sentient and they're pumping shit out to you.
Is that?
I think about that, man.
But I mean, so there's different layers to it, right? So it's obviously they're picking up your voice through microphones. They have your search topics to run off of. I've gone as far as even realizing, I'm pretty sure that when you use Apple Pay, there is itemized, dude, I swear to God. Like, I shouldn't be getting ads on Google for flavors of Cheez-It. Is that? Yeah. And I swear to God, it's like, I would never get them until I was like, oh, it's a new flavor of Cheez-Its. And I buy it. I don't type it in. I don't talk about it. I'm not trying to go buy myself. I pay for it with Apple Pay. Swear to God, dude, it's happened multiple times. Like, they have an itemized list of what I bought, and they're going to send it right back to me. It's happened multiple. And those levels, like you said, it's robbing us of those true synchronicity moments that I don't, again, trying to tie the meaning to it is one thing, but for you to just be completely unaware of your surroundings in general is seemingly happening to the point where, like, you're so invested in your phone, you get all these synthetic syncs that pop up, like, oh man, that's so weird. How that happened? Like, there's reasons why it clearly happened.
Yeah.
But if you just open your eyes to other opportunities, then you go find that there are natural patterns too, not just Apple trying to sell me more Cheez-Its or whatever the hell is going on.
And I know I really jumped the gun on talking about the natural versus the unnatural, because this was kind of like a topic that was going to tie into our next episode of Terminator, Are We Closer Than We Think? But where I was going with this was, I've had these weird instances where, like, and I talked to you guys about this real quick, like, I'll meditate on a regular basis for like 30 minutes a day, but I don't ever get to a place where I feel like all the meditating that I've been doing is just like, hit the recharge button. I've literally plugged myself into the fast charger, and I sit there in the grass at work. I bring a camping chair now, low boy camping chair. I just sit down in that, block myself with my car. I'm in the grass, and I just close my eyes and just relax for 30 minutes. And I put a timer on. That's it. I don't put headphones in. I let the cars drive by, I let the birds, all that kind of stuff. I have not had a single download, what people call a download, where they have this like epiphany or this magical thing that comes into their head from meditating, and they have this crazy thought that wasn't a thought of their own, and, oh, I have this amazing thing that I need to tell you about. I haven't had any of those.
Mm-hmm.
At least I haven't felt like I've had any of those in the moment. But then I wake up the next day and something that I was thinking about inside of my head was just something that concept that I was diving into or starting to think about. And then all of a sudden the next day, there is a male or a female popped up on my TikTok newsfeed, my TikTok For You page, talking about that exact situation in a way that I never thought about. And it gives me that download, and I learn that information right there. Or I find that new level of understanding. Or I take what they said and I discern it into a way that makes more sense to me. And I'm just like, this is fucking weird. This is really weird. Like, I didn't talk. I didn't type. I'm not doing a blog on a computer. Like, I'm just sitting there thinking about these things, like, basically inside my own head. And then they pop up as a video from a person who I've never seen before on my For You page. And then I click on their, like, profile, and it's like, they talk about all this different stuff. And you're just like, shit, I could have a really good conversation with this person. Like, this would be weird. And so that's where the unnatural versus natural, like, are there actually things that are higher levels of consciousness that are involved with the internet and stuff like that? Or is the internet a higher level of consciousness?
So like Chat GPT, for instance, it doesn't involve free will. Like, if you asked a chat bot for its opinion or its values or its favorite pizza topping, it just doesn't have an opinion.
See, I see chatbot, like I see Chat GPT and those kind of things as like the preempted C3PO.
Well,
so like that's where like I start to see like, dude, C3PO, like he's a robot, but he's feels feelings and he feels all this kind of stuff, and you're like, oh shit, man, like what if that is already...
So that's where I was going, was if you take a chatbot that has no free will and no ability to impose its will, and they're talking about, oh, what happens when these chatbots become sentient, or there's like that the singularity occurs. There's no way of it imposing its will on the human race, but I think the way it could get there is through algorithm. Is that it's literally imposing its will on. So no, a chatbot can't turn around and go, oh, this is the way you should think about the upcoming election. Is that going to do that?
Yeah, if you
combine the two, then all of a sudden...
So they link up, or they become a team, or they start working in unison. Or is it that chatbot has to elevate itself?
Is that...
Yeah. To that level.
So that's... I believe that. I know how out there of a comment I just made was, but if you're thinking of ways that a non-living being can impose its will, well, algorithm imposes its will. You turn on your phone and you click on TikTok and you don't have a choice on what you're shown to you. Mm-hmm. That might change your opinion. The first video you watch it all and you're like, I never thought of it that way. I'm voting for so-and-so.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, the chatbot wouldn't have told me that, but the algorithm did.
Holy piss. Yeah, that's a gnarly thought. That's right where I would think all of this ends up going at some point in time. Do you? Or is he like, I don't want to think about it like that?
Is that... I want to think about it. We'll get into the next episode, but I do think that, I mean, 20 years ago, we were making the skit for the internet. Dude, the internet was like an old man with who took his driver's test in 1950 trying to parallel park in 2024. That's what the internet was in the 90s. Now it's evolved to such a level that there's no way you can look at it and say it's going to slow down. So where does it?
I would think the general population only actually knows like 1% of what the internet's capable of. Holy shit, dude, that was a bold statement. But yes, I think that the general population actually only truly knows a very, very, very... Now, it might not be 1%. That might have been a really ignorant thing to say. But I think that there's a very finite amount of the internet that the general public actually knows about. Because there are constantly people popping up on my TikTok page teaching about some new AI software that is out there or something that has been on the internet for the last 30 years. How did nobody ever know about this? This has been on the internet this whole time. And you're just like, I think that there's so much out there that the general population doesn't even know.
We're to see like how things go viral too. And things can be out there for years, and all of a sudden it gets picked up. Like, oh, you guys see this from 5 years ago? And then how did it decide that now this is out here for years? But the capabilities there, I think you're 100% right of what actually occurs, what people actually take advantage of, and then what the capabilities are few and far between. I don't use the internet for anything groundbreaking. Maybe one day, but is that the power it wields on its own? It's horrifying. Computers are smarter than me.
It's a strong entity. It's a strong power, man. And I think there's so much that we haven't even been told, like I said, that if we were told could just do. Like, I think that's where we were going in the next episode with the AI, and just how amazing using the right, walking into the internet with the right intent, utilizing it as a tool, what wonders can you actually create in your reality?
Yeah, it's how are you going to control the masses? If we knew the true power of the internet, there's no controlling the masses. We knew that aliens are real, there's no controlling the masses. People would lose their mind, be mass hysteria. It's the same set of like, okay, we know how powerful this son of a gun is. I can't let Brandon know though, because if Brandon knows, he's going to quit his freaking job. He's going to look at life completely differently. We need to keep this system rolling.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that would be literally exactly shown in them trying, or that whole conglomerate. I don't know where the fuck they're at on it. The canceling of TikTok, the banning of TikTok in the United States.
And you mentioned like just out of the general, and it's so crazy to see what it's promoting out. It's all consumerism. The algorithm isn't being used for anything other than consumerism. So even on the side of who's controlling this, is doing it for money. There's no higher meaning there. I'm sure there's a higher way to use algorithms to benefit the human race, but now it's just so I buy an air purifier off TikTok.
Yeah. It's so hard because I sit here and I go to work every day and I'm like, dog, well, do I go for it today? And what I mean by go for it today is, do I set up the TikTok shop and do I promote the fucking random item and do I make a bunch of money off of that so that I can quit my job? What did I do? Did I just push out an item and just tried to get people to buy it? Or was there actual purpose behind it? Like, there was a kid who went viral who I keep seeing it. I should have bought it. I just don't want to. I'm trying to be better with my money. But there's this kid who went viral on TikTok for this push-up board. It's got all these different areas.
I definitely saw that.
He's just shredded. And he's pushing something that will ultimately is benefit to people. So like that, I'm sitting here like, well, shit, man, if you pick the right product and you're pushing the right product, you're actually bringing benefit to other people. But if you just say, and slap this digital product together and I'm now a teacher, I'm now a coach, I'm going to coach you on how to do this. Like, where's your backing, man? Like, I can't just today be like, oh, I'm now a mentor for astrology. I just don't.
Like, well, since when is this guy known anything about astrology?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, so I keep seeing these people who are like, you want to have all this compassion and understanding, but you're like, bro, you're 21 years old. You don't know shit. Don't act like you know shit yet. You're 21 years old. You have not experienced enough to tell me how to do. I know that's really ignorant of me to say, because someone who's 21 years old could be world traveler and have had parents who brought them up a completely different way, and they could be an absolute badass at 21. Me, And everybody who I knew at 21, fucking moron.
Well, I think you have a better chance at 21 though. Honestly, like I was just talking about my job currently. I'm like, if I did my job when I was 18, I'd be better at it than I am right. I think there's a combination of not being broken down by the system that we currently live in, just and I mean that certainly, just strictly thinking in lack of belief or self-belief. Like we've had that conversation, you and I, about that recently with me. Like trying to envision that I am capable of things that are clearly not far out of my reach, but 2021, who has told you no at that point? Like you went through school, I'm sure you dealt with some shit, maybe failed a math test, but like that's it, So I think at that point, yeah, like maybe that kid's push-up board is, flimsy and it'll break.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the push-up board. I'm talking about the person who thinks that they're now all of a sudden this seasoned coach.
Yeah. Okay. That's an issue.
The push-up board.
No,
I'm talking about a person who's 20 years old and is now trying to like, I have this $25 digital product and it's 25 pages of me teaching you how to create a brand. And it's just like,
oh yeah, those guys that go like, oh, I made $6 million off digital marketing. Pay me $30 to learn how. Like, you wouldn't need my $30 fucking dollars if you made $6 million, you idiot.
yes.
And I also don't believe push-up board guy.
That guy.
I believe in the sense that like you find something that aligns with you, you go after it, and you have this no one's gonna tell me no mentality. 10 years later down the road, oh man, I have a girlfriend at home. I gotta pay rent. I gotta pay the bills. I gotta do this. I can't go do this. I have too much shit to worry about. Then that's the perfect time. That might be the biggest regret, is that in my life, I didn't go for shit early enough.
I didn't play any risks.
Yeah.
I literally did not roll the dice at all.
But it's funny, we talk about synchronicities, and I can't tell you shit like that has occurred recently, that occurred 10 years ago. I don't know and I feel like I was maybe even like a little more, if I had to guess, was I more in tune then than I am now? I'd say yes. Was I going after the right things then? No.
Definitely not. It was
priorities were different.
It was literally, how messed up can I get and how many girls can I meet? That's all it was. It was literally all it was. So like, yes, was I in tune with my focus, and my focus was laser and it was good? Yes, we were good. But
were you in tune with the universe and what your calling was in life?
Not even remotely.
Man, we got too many hormones to be thinking about the universe.
Right. I want to go face a bottle of tequila and get kicked out of a bar.
It's just one of those things where you're like, what time frame am I in? Oh, wait, I'm here at 20 years old. I'm going to be crazy. And then you look back and you're like, I'm 32 and I'm watching this kid 20 years old making mad money on TikTok. And you're like, I could have been the person who's like, fuck that kid. What a piece of shit, But me, I'm like, dude, hell yeah. It's just like the other day. I showed my dad and his buddy, Joey V and Brett, and they're coming to Spirit Hall. I don't have tickets. It's sold out. My dad tried to get us tickets, and he's like, sold out. And I was like, damn, good for those guys, dude. Mm-hmm. And Mario goes, not good for us. Yeah, I get it, but like, I'm still gonna say like, good job on those guys. Like, it's only literally like year 2 or year 3 for those guys, or nice. two albums, 2020, is when they started, and now they're selling out a full place in Pittsburgh. That's banging. That's cool, that's dope. Good for them.
Yeah. So now, as far as the strengthening the awareness, or like I put the cleaning your antenna, I think the thing that is most important for me I don't care about synchronicities occurring in my life. It's just very funny the way they do occur. Like the one with Brandon and his brother. Was there some meaning I put towards that? No, it was just really freaking weird coincidence. But on the other side, like as things like 222, dude, I see it freaking everywhere. I don't see 333. I don't see 444. I don't see 11. I just constantly see 2s.
Tomorrow's 8/22, by the way.
Of course it is. No, it's not. It's 8/20. You blind?
Oh, no, sorry.
Don't tell us. And also, don't tell these people when we record our episode. okay? Because this shit's coming out in fucking November.
That's so funny. I have so many schedules that I keep track of. I'm like, oh yeah, that's tomorrow.
My girlfriend, I always envisioned her. Always. I always knew she'd be there. Is that anniversary's on the 22nd? Actually, I didn't even mean to do that. We just went away for a weekend and it just felt right. And like, I'm watching Steeler. I'm not fucking worried about what date it was, dude. This is Thursday night Steeler game. We're going away. I'm getting drunk and I'm eating some freaking nachos. And we're just on the way to the grocery store. And like, we had a conversation. Like, I want to make this like a fully committed relationship. And I look back. I'm like, damn, dude. Like, first of all, 11 days after her birthday for an anniversary, tough go, man. You got to do it too. And you know how girls are. Like, you got to separate the anniversary from the birth. You got to do it. Is that, listen, plan it out, promise. But I love her, so we'll take care of business. But wasn't thinking of things like that. But I guess with the cleaning your antenna or strengthening the muscle, like you put it, it's being more in tune in general by trusting my gut. Knowing that the things that are for me were always supposed to be for me, even though if I can't envision what those are, maybe if I can't see it, those are little signs that have always pointed me like, not that I think there's some higher meaning behind it, but again, it's funny the way they work. When I'm always looking for an answer to trust myself or trust my gut, they always seem to occur. So I think to continue to clean my antenna and look for those opportunities, I think it just not thinking so much, just trusting what I have inside of it.
What's your synchronicity with Outcasts?
Oh,
So
Outcast.
I saw that, and I have a synchronicity attached to it. That's why I have to ask.
Did you? Okay, so when I was, I remember I was like 10 years old probably. I was at my mom's house. We had this big bubble radio, looked like an astronaut helmet. And I would always play music in my room. I don't think I had a CD player, so I'd listen to like Kiss FM. And I liked Outkast a lot. I liked the song. Is it Whole World, or I think it's called Whole World. The Whole World. But it's like Killer Mike and it's Outkast. And I'm rapping the Killer Mike part of my head. It's like God, I had it written down. I think it goes like player I grind, the focus is crime, raw with the rhyme, sick with the slime. I'm rapping him out loud. Like, love that part, dude. And as I'm rapping that part, I turn on the radio and in sync, I'm rapping the exact part that comes on in that song on the fucking radio.
In sync.
Yeah, dude, nutty. Like the exact part of the song, I'm rapping out loud because like, dude, that's my song. I put it on and I'm right at the third verse, like going in. Like, holy shit, dude. Again, no meaning. I'm not that out there. But like things like that, like, man, the patterns at least you can recognize and to open yourself up to more opportunity and more of what's aligning with you is how I look at those situations.
It's funny because literally Saturday, somebody started singing an Outcast song and they said like the first 3 words. And then I started finishing it. But then I went a step further and then a step further and then a step further. And like, dude, how do you know all those words? I go, well, 31 years old. How do you think I know all those words? I watched it in a music video when I was like 10.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, but like people know, hey, like, and I'm like, yeah, I also listened to the other ones. Like, that was my jam. I also, for my birthday when I was like 10 or 11, this dates us a little bit, but I asked my brother to give me the lyrics for Outcast, I Like the Way You Move, for my birthday gift, because we can't really buy each other gifts. So I was like, oh, I really need you to spend money. I was like, here's something free. Just print me out the lyrics to I Like the Way You Move. There's only one part of it I won't say because, I just can't say that. But yeah, no, I used to know all the words to I Like the Way You Move, and the other song was Roses. Those are my top 2.
Is that Outkast is great. Music's weird too. I mentioned this before the episode. 2 songs that I heard, one at a bar with my brother, and 2 singing out loud in the dugout at softball. 2 songs that I keep a monthly playlist. I just save songs that I'm into that month onto. Save both of those songs. I'm like, oh, I haven't heard the song around. Fucking slaps, dude. Saving this one for the month. Save both of them, and then quickly realized that I had saved both of those exact songs a year ago in August. Thank you for doxing our month and date of our podcast, but it was in August. No, but it's just so weird. Again, like the patterns in anything, man. Like, oh, just maybe it's the weather, and I want some cruising music or whatever it may be. Just weird the way that lines up.
All music is fantastic for putting you into those places.
Yeah.
and syncing you up like no other, and catching those synchronicities, manifesting.
Man, I don't like this because no, let me go. Thank you. Zach calls me the freaking manifest generator, which is, could you explain that to me? Because you've said it, and I don't think we've had a actual conversation on that. I'd like to hear what you
So-
mean by this.
I am not a Reiki master. I am.
What are you? What the rat from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
I'm not a Reiki master, and Reiki is like the energy that comes, the energy footprint that you're basically imprinted with when you're born. But when we looked up our birth charts, I am just a generator, but Derry is a manifest generator.
I can look this up while we're talking.
So you can look up your design charts. This is something that's going to become huge in the world going forward, without a doubt. You heard it here. No, you didn't hear it here because there's a ton of other people who are literally talking about this. But no.
Odds are you didn't hear.
But this is something that is probably going to become huge business going forward. Is actual like tarot and all that kind of stuff is coming back hardcore because people are literally being able to see how these are so connected to themselves. And this design chart literally shows you like the energy footprint that you had when you were conceived and brought into this world. This is the hard thing though. With all of this stuff like astrology, everything, all this stuff with the design charts, with the zodiacs, with all that stuff, our calendar is not our calendar, because we used to follow in like Ethiopia is on a completely different freaking calendar from us, guys. We used to follow sea turtles for our calendar. There are 13 circles inside of the outside circle, and there are 28 circles going around the outside shell of every single turtle. You can look it up here because a lady at work fact checked me when I told them in the project meeting. Literally every single sea turtle that you find will have 13 circles inside. They'll be different sizes. They won't all be the same. And they'll have 28 circles going around the outside. And we used to follow sea turtles for our calendars. 13 months, 28 days. So like I look at myself and I view myself as a Gemini because I was born on May 29th. But if we were following a different calendar, I could be a completely different zodiac sign. So when you start to dive into this stuff, you have to actually go back, like this is just me discerning it. Feel like you have to go back and actually look at your birth date from the old school calendar, the calendar that Ethiopia follows.
Yeah, they were doing something right.
Dude, Ethiopia is 7 years behind us. I'm just going to pause for a second because that is pretty wild. I have seen, and you can look it up, I've seen so many videos. I have not personally been to Ethiopia yet. Oh yeah, he's seen so many videos. This could all be doctored.
So you just go, you can look it up.
Shit. I've seen videos of guys going to Ethiopia and comparing their cell phone to someone's cell phone from Ethiopia. And this cell phone says 2024 and this cell phone says 2017.
That's wild.
They are 7 years behind us. So that's where like, when you start to dive into all this stuff, it's really hard because like my mom asked me the other day, I know this isn't the in-tune topic that we're talking about, but like this is funny for this concept. My mom asked me the other day, like, you think you ever are going to have kids? I was like, Mom, I totally want to have kids. But like, when do you think you're going to have them, Zach? And I was like, Mom, it's really hard for me to give you that. It's really hard for me to give you that answer because the way I view time and the way I view how old I am is a lot different than what maybe other people view. I was like, I told her about Ethiopia. I said, so Mom, like, I could technically be 7 years younger right now. And I could actually be, if I followed the calendar that Ethiopia follows, I'd be 25 years old right now, Mom. And
Is that
how it works?
they sped up time. The time that we
Yeah.
follow right now, they sped up the calendar so that we would lose time over the years.
I get it.
So you think that you're older than you actually are. But in reality, you're 7 years younger based off of the old calendar from the old world that Ethiopia follows.
Is that they are 7 years removed from our exact calendar? It's that the way they perceive
The
time.
way they
perceive
follow
time.
time and the way their calendar is set up is different than ours. So it changes the way that they would view years, because you're losing an entire month every freaking year. Like, so that's what puts them 7 years behind us. But like, I was like, Mom, you know, Dr. Gundry is also a guy who, like, I'm really intrigued by his stuff. Like, Dr. Gundry was a heart surgeon who walked away from this like huge medical practice because he just, it's like, shit, this is real. I don't want to speak for him, but this is just the stuff that I've seen. Basically, like, the gist that I've gotten was like, we are not helping people. We're actually just band-aiding the situation, and I don't want to be involved in this anymore. So this guy was like in his 60s, completely changed his life, revamped it, and said that him and Dave Asprey, this guy, Superhuman, those guys claim that they are going to be, Dave is a lot younger than Dr. Gundry, but Dave and Dr. Gundry claim that they're going to be the first people from Western society to live to be documented to be 150 years old. Dr. Gundry started this in his 60s, and he says he's going to live to be 150. So I was like, Mom, I'm just in this, like, I started this journey at 28. Like, I know I'm still not eating 100% locked in, but like, I'm getting rid of 28 years of programming. Like, the fact that I've done so much for myself in 4 years has felt like a success. So I was like, Mom, my time is different. The way I view like my body and the deterioration of my body is completely different. So I was like, Mom, I really can't put a freaking time frame on it. I was like, just know that it is something that I really would love to do at some point in time. But if I'm in sync with the way that my life is going, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. And I didn't want to get into the whole thing of like, kids actually teach people how to love. Like, having kids actually teaches you how to love. So if you don't have to have, like, if kids aren't something that you have in your life, then you might be someone who already knows how to show love. So you don't need to be taught that lesson. Because like, kids are the greatest teachers on the face of this earth. Literally, the brand new kids up to 7 are like the greatest teachers, and the old timers who are about to completely kick it are great too. But like, dude, kids are still connected to the spirit world, man, when they come into here. And that's badass, because they bring all this like love and compassion and understanding that is just, whoa.
Is that beat out of you? Is that I talk about, like, the 21-year-old kid you mentioned on TikTok, the push-up guy, not the other guy, that he hasn't gone through the ringer yet. And that's something I think kids offer the same thing, is experience. Older people, I feel like, can offer you, oh, this is what you should do in this instance. This is how you can learn from your mistakes. Younger people just teach you how to be a human being to its truest level. And I think that it's so crazy. We get somewhere lost in between both of those things. You don't see it till you're on the other side.
So filing back into this manifesting section that we were actually talking about, we discussed with ourselves internally about manifesting the blue feather. And so like, sitting here and just thinking about this blue feather, what it would feel like to find it, what would it feel like to feel it, to touch it, to see it, the excitement, the joy, what would you get out of finding and manifesting that blue feather on the ground? And no, we did not sit here and literally like try to like beam me up, Scotty, and try to like manifest this blue feather like right onto the table in front of us, but it was something to where it was like, that was the joke that has started to be pushed out there when you start to dive into like what manifesting is. How quickly can you manifest a blue feather into your existence is how in tune you are with actually manifesting things into your reality.
Yeah. I think that's where I have this struggle of believing that. I think I've proven to myself time and time again that I'm able to manifest things into my life, but to actually be able to wield that power, harness it and put it towards something, I don't know if I've learned that lesson.
Yeah, and we haven't dived into these design charts too hardcore to the point where it was like the manifest generator. Like to me, like I took that as like me being a generator, but you being a manifest generator. Like you had the ability to be able to manifest, but I have the ability to be able to generate it into reality.
Like, am I levels ahead of you because the cat's toy at home has a blue feather on it? I went home and saw it immediately. Like, I didn't really think about it at all. I'll be honest. I didn't sit there and do the whole whatever you were doing with the cross.
Real feather though?
No, dude, it's a blue freaking feather. It's a cat toy that has feathers. They're feathers. Fucking, it's a feather like any feather has ever been a feather.
But that to me is exactly why you haven't realized you're fucking powerful.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Manifest this damn podcast to be #1 on the Spotify, all right there, pal? You put that.
It's funny. I saw
Somewhere in the cat toys.
Manifest me out of my job.
I saw that
That's
cat
all
toy.
my fucking fault.
I remember thinking, I was
Blame
like, does
me.
this count? No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw blue-gray feathers.
Yeah.
That blue-green on a dead-ass bird. Just absolutely smashed bird.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I was like, dang, I can't count this.
Brandon left and went right the aviary. It's like, give me that peacock. Come here. Come here.
Get out of here. I'm going to take one and leave in front of Giant
Is
Eagle.
that? Yeah.
Someone's going to want that.
Someone's going to find that.
Someone's going to bring back, I found it.
Is
It's
that
taken me
you?
7 years, but I found it.
Yeah.
So hilarious, dude. I'm just going to sit there dropping blue feathers.
Honestly, we should, because if it comes from someone you don't know, it's randomly in the universe, there could be that person who's been looking for it for some time.
That's the butterfly effect, dude.
Yeah.
Isn't it the butterfly effect?
Yeah. You need that situation where you're walking downtown Pittsburgh and some guy's smoking a cigarette. He's standing there with the top hat on. There's a blue feather sticking out. You go, what the fuck is that? That's the guy I'm looking for.
That or just the feather that just is like comes down like this right in front of me. And you're like, oh shit, that's a blue feather.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That would be gnarly.
Yeah.
We did talk about the golden scarab though. The golden scarab beetle from Carl Jung, and his like whole thing about he had a patient who basically was like talking about how there was a person who was going to bring her a golden beetle, and it was like this prized piece of jewelry, almost like from, the Mummy and that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden Carl turns, there's a beetle just bopping its head off of the window. He opens it up, it's a gold beetle, and he gives it to the lady, and just like that unexplainable action or experience or whatever occurrence is what allowed them to have a deeper relationship and a deeper connection. And it was a cicada. Okay. It was 100%.
I saw a cicada. I thought the same thing.
Well, and we talked about it. And I literally sat here last week because we were going to record this episode last week, and we decided to pull back and do it this week. And I look over and we talked about it with this window. I come home the next day and I'm working out right here doing the circuit. And I look over and I go, holy shit, that's a gold fucking beetle on my damn window. And I took a video of it. I sent you guys. I was like, holy shit, dude, that is wild. And once again, this was a cicada. It was gold, but it was a cicada. All right. It was not an actual beetle, but it was one of those things where you were just like, this beetle's crawling across your window. And you're like, dude, that's wild. Like, holy shit. We just talked about this story yesterday. I literally have the video of us sitting here for 2.5 hours working on this episode and working on the podcast and talking about this. It's right effing there at the window today. that was wild because that was like literally the day after. Like, is this a synchronicity of like, we're on the right page, we're on the right pace?
Yeah, I was gonna ask what you took from that.
What I took from that was us pulling back and not doing the episode last week, and then seeing that beetle was like, it was everything. It was everything to me, man. And I know that seems like, well, what the fuck's everything, Nate? But it was one of those things where it was like, I have a good job, and I've said this a million times, and fuck, if these guys see this, they'll be like, we should just can this guy today. I just don't want to do my job, man, because I love doing this. Like, I woke up today and I wanted to do this. I wanted to edit the podcast. I wanted to do all this kind of stuff. So like pulling back and not doing the episode and kind of feeling like, oh, well, you know, if we're not doing the episode today, then that means we're not continuing to like keep the pace up and that kind of stuff. And then I saw the beetle the next day and I was like, no, dude, we are exactly where we're supposed to be. And then you and I built out the schedule. And literally, we're going to end this year recording episode 38, which is an 11, a master number. So that's the master builder number, 11, 22, and 33. And we are going to release the last episode for the year, episode 35, in so 8, 3 and 5, 8, in an 8-year, 2024. And I thought to myself, I was like, when we built this out, I was like, oh my God, again, I'm being shown that we're literally right on the path that we're supposed to be. Sorry. Oh, the second win, Rube. And it was a beautiful moment for me, man.
Yeah. Is that I've always taken it too. Like I'm trying to differentiate, and I'm still not there yet, like these different patterns of things that occur, and then there being other instances that occur that have some type of meaning. I think the way it has been described to me in the past is that you're applying the meaning. There is no meaning. You're literally applying it. So is it really that special? Is that? No, it could be special to anybody. So for you, that's the way I take it the same way. It's always like a nudge and a wink. You know, it's the universe. There has to be some way for the universe to communicate with you. And again, nothing short of your dog telling you what you should be working on. Those are the ways that I believe is that being told, hey, you know that thing you were thinking about? Like, yeah, that's what you should be thinking about. Or when you're feeling sorry for yourself and you haven't hit the gym and you haven't focused on your priorities and these things don't happen and we're in this like grayed out, dull life. I feel like that shit kind of brings the color back.
Without a doubt.
There's something crazy to be said about that. So you mentioned about the universe, and I thought about, kind of makes me think about the dual slit experiment. For anyone who doesn't know the dual split, it's something they discovered that photons, when they shot them through these dual splits, just little vertical lines, what happened was whenever they did an isolation, it would travel like light would travel and land back perfectly in perfect lines right on the other side, just as you think it would. But then they put a camera there, then all of a sudden it would travel like waves. Instead of just traveling like receiving on the other side, then as soon as they put a camera, it would travel like waves. And what I mean by that is camera, basically on the other side, there would be equal parallel set of dots. But if you put a camera there, the dots travel like waves. So imagine water going through there and landing here, landing here, landing here. Just by observing it, you change it. So when we're looking for those patterns, call me crazy. What if by looking for those patterns, you start to change things? But I do want to mention one thing that's crazy. I remember saying, I think I'll find my blue feather by Monday. Now, what it could have been is it could be a very loose term for my blue feather. Been looking for feathers all damn week. Yeah, I was trying to cheat. I was like, that toy. I won't call
Shout out, dude.
I was, No, we'll get.
No, I don't want your sympathy.
I tried cheating with the pigeon. I was like, I could see he has green and blue feathers on him. I'm like, but that's on him. Doesn't count.
Guy's going through his punk phase. He's
Something to me that was much more valuable was, I told you guys before this started, coworker and friend had been going through some rough times, and I've been waiting to hear from him and hoping he's okay. And today, I'm in my office, and all of a sudden I get a call, and I'm like, who the hell is calling me right now? And I was just like, I look at my phone, I was like, oh, no way. And I answered, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually his voice. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's okay. And I'm like, by Monday, I'll find my blue feather. And for me, a big reason why we weren't recording last week was me. I was just like out of sync, in a funk, overworked, over caffeinated, and not enough sleep. So I was like, I think by Monday I'll find my blue feather. And I'm like, well, I got something better. I got to find out that, one of the big sources of my anxiety is just knowing that my friend is okay. And finally, all of a sudden, he called, and I'm like, so I didn't find my blue feather, but that was kind of a thing that I would feel like I would find it once I feel a little bit more okay about this situation. So it was kind of crazy to think, like, the whole thing, I guess it'd be the cart before the horse. Like, the thing that I was actually worried about would be partially resolved. And here was me thinking, the stress and everything, once that's over, I have a feeling by Monday, those things will there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel. So all of a sudden, light called my phone and went, hey, come to the end of the tunnel. And I was like, whoa, really? Like, when do you think by? Oh, probably by Wednesday. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. I'm like, man, that's crazy to think. Like, one of the biggest stressors, and for anyone who doesn't know, I was working 2 manager jobs during last week, and I was working a shit ton of hours and trying to cover up the difference for 2 different people's jobs. And then this week, I only had to do one of the manager's jobs. And then now, like, I get to hear that my friend is okay. And I'm like, man, these things are like, they're starting to get a little bit backing off. I mean, it's still busy, still crazy, still a lot. But, a source of my anxiety was just that my friend would be fine. So I was like, man, all right. I guess I was half right. Like, by Monday, things will be okay.
Dude, wow, that's a cool.
Yeah, I predicted that, like, Sunday of last week? Like, I have a feeling by Monday, I'll find my blue feather. I didn't find my blue feather, but the source of my anxiety, where I feel like I was out of sync, if you take the prediction that I think I'll be back in sync Monday, I'm not completely in sync. I still got stressors, but I'm like, man, all right, I kind of have predicted, that things are going to take a turn.
Is that? Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It seems like what we're following on is the synchronicities are a byproduct. And there's a lot of byproducts to just being in sync in general. Like, I
in the moment.
Yeah, right? So just being out there, putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, is that yourself, but also allowing the world to do with you as it pleases, in an understanding that, like you said in a couple episodes back, we were talking about how your relationship with nature, how what you give is what you're going to get back. It kind of seems like it's the same thing.
Without a doubt. As above, so below.
Mm-hmm.
As
within,
so without.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the universe of the soul?
Oh, what?
Yeah. Yeah, you wish you wrote that.
Not really.
Not a poet?
No.
Were you ever a poet? You ever write poems?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got some stuff.
Raina wrote poems. I know you do. Oh, you have some hidden poems?
Got some hidden stuff.
Like, recently you've written poems?
Maybe.
Dog. Oh, dog. Damn, next episode.
Maybe I'm just sitting on this, like, entire rap career that, like, I know is going to...
Is that our calling?
No, that's not our calling, but that's something that's going to be fun.
Our rap career?
Yeah. He laughs, but I told him at some point in time, I'm traveling the world. It might only be for a year, might be for 2 years, but I'm traveling the world as a DJ. At some point in time, I'm going to be a DJ, dude. I know that my energy is electric.
I don't doubt this at all.
Oh, dude.
Oh, you get a party started unlike anybody.
Give
There's
you a laptop and
there-
good sound.
top three, Ryan and John are there, Praskovich, and then yourself. As far as bringing and when the energy with one of you, especially you, I think there's something intoxicating about yours. That when you bring it to the table, like if the squad's around, and you're on one, it's a whole different ball game. Instantly, it doesn't matter what was happening. It's like going, like you said, like live music. That's what's beautiful about music is you can go to. I went to a concert last night. Did not matter what was going on at that show for the 20,000 people there. When you were there, the correct musician could rip that shit out of you for 3 hours and stuff whatever they want back into you, and it's just this feeling of exuberance, and I think you're able to harness that.
Gnarly show last night.
Bruce is 70, I don't know, 74, 3, 2, 5, I don't know. Doesn't matter. He is old enough that when he was finishing his last couple songs, like keeled over, like sweat directly through the shirt, dude. Nutty. But I mean, music wise, you can tell that's like, it's, I don't know how to put it other than it's white people gospel music. That's what it is. It is. It is. Look, dude, I grew up, my sister sang in a black church. I know what gospel music is. I love it. It's something I truly enjoy. But as far as like, it is the whitest gospel music there truly is. But there's something transcendent about a musician who does it so well like that no matter what is going on, when you walk into that arena, you are leaving behind what was left at the door.
That's pretty bad.
Dancing in the dark.
Yeah, oh, dude, that one ripped. So good.
He's
So good.
totally ripped on.
But you can bring that to the table for sure. And yeah, I'll laugh at you. But like I used to think that back in the day, I would rewrite the lyrics to songs I liked and made them funny, dude. And I love doing that. I don't do it anymore. I'll do it sometimes. We'll have music on at work and I'll just start ripping on someone by like changing the lyrics to
I
something.
love that.
Oh, it's so funny. Yeah. But then you see people on friggin' line, they make careers out of that. I'm like, shit, bro. If I just would have kept writing these 15 years ago, I wouldn't even be here doing this right now. I'd be on a stage somewhere. I could have easily pulled that off.
Honestly, if somebody wants to make some money off of this, I think a COVID, what is it? Billy Joel song. What's the one about like Malcolm X?
Oh, we
British
didn't start the
politicians?
fire, yeah.
If somebody did a COVID song, but like we didn't start the fire, that song would be lit immediately.
Jeez.
So, shout out to anybody out there. Make that song. Titty's looking for it.
Yep.
Yeah, unless I do it first. Racia.
Titty will sing it. Brandon will sing it. He got the voice of an angel.
Oh, thanks.
Oh.
Absolutely gnarly episode on.
We've got an update for you.
We got an update, dude.
That's that download you were looking for.
That was the exact download that I was looking at. The exact it's a physical fucking download. So,
sir, your computer is going to catch on fire if you don't get this.
absolutely kick-ass episode on synchronicities. Beam me up. I'm so in tune. Yeah, I don't know Scotty, but maybe Scotty could beam me up.
Scotty doesn't know.
Scotty doesn't know anything about this podcast. Anywho,
Hey, this ain't popping up on Scotty's algorithm. Scotty got cooking channels.
so we missed signs of acknowledged syncs and a little astrology from some simpletons. So when we were going into that, we were going to talk a little bit about astral projection and some remote viewing, a little bit of astrology of like your patterns and your birth time and all that kind of stuff to your birth chart. We will save those for another episode, or we will bring those into some confessionals and some skits to you guys. But as always, I want to ask you guys, you got anything to share on the way out there?
Yes. Keep your eyes peeled, guys. That's all.
I like that.
Oh, good. What do you want me to say?
Thing from King Power over
Do you want me to King Power? Dude, don't get me started. By the time this episode is released, I'm sure we will be in the basement of the table. But today, Lester's back, and we drew back a big draw against Tottenham. Those freaking crooks. Yeah. It was a good game. It was fun. It was at work. Just chilling. watching the game. Some good times out there, man. So no, King Power has nothing else to say. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Anytime. As always, don't trust us, trust yourself. That goes without being said. We got Derry, we got Brandon, and we got myself, Zach, and this was another installment of the Dismount Podcast. Appreciate you guys riding along with us.
Thank you.
Thanks again for tuning in to episode 29. Beam me up. I feel so in tune. Don't hesitate to catch our next release, Terminator, Closer Than We Think. The group gets together to discuss social media, AI, all the fun stuff that is technology that is starting to come out now, and it is pretty wild and pretty amazing. So, is Terminator, the movie, closer than we think? Who knows? Your decision. But don't hesitate to catch episode 30, releasing on October 23rd. We appreciate you guys riding along with us. I'll see you guys on the next one.